I think it's important for us to keep our promises. For example, we have broken numerous promises as a state. The state of Connecticut, I can guess, that would include the legislators here, are expected to keep our promises to the state employees and teacher pensions and health obligations. Legislators and the state of Connecticut need to keep the promises to taxpayers as well. When a tax on gasoline is promised to be used to repair our infrastructure, then we shouldn't be using those funds for operating expenses. I believe the Transportation Fund began in 1984. The first year, from what I read, the first year those funds were kept in there and used accordingly. But fast forward another 31 years, or 34 years, we have tapped into the Special Transportation Fund in order to balance our budget. And had we not, we would have today $5 billion in that fund, or our roads wouldn't be in such dire straits, and our bridges and our tunnels. Can you imagine how different tonight's budget discussion would be? Similarly, another example is the real estate conveyance tax, and that's dear to me. This tax was established in 1984 with the condition that the tax was to be a sunset provision in 2 years, but was continually extended every 2 years until most recently it was made permanent years ago. Another broken promise. And let's not forget the personal income tax was also to be temporarily. All of these are examples of broken promises to taxpayers. And in the business world, we try not to do that. Madam President, I have an image in my mind that many of you may be familiar with. We all know the classic comic strip Peanuts, right? We're all familiar with Lucy, and we are all familiar with Charlie Brown. Of course we are. We remember how Lucy holds a football in place as Charlie Brown comes running up to kick it. And we all know what happens to Charlie Brown. Charlie trusts Lucy. He starts running towards the football that she's holding in place. And just as he tries to kick the football with all his might, what does Lucy do? We all know what Lucy does. She pulls the football away at the last second. And poor, trusting Charlie Brown goes flying. He falls in a heap. And Charlie Brown wonders, why did I trust her? Well, as one of the new legislators in this circle and someone who has not been here in Hartford for a long time, here's how I see it. The Connecticut state government is Lucy. And our Connecticut job creators are Charlie Brown. Again and again and again, we pull that football away. And again, Connecticut businesses, large and small, wonder why they believe anything we say and do. Madam Speaker, I represent Bristol. ESPN is Bristol's largest employer. ESPN will take a huge hit from the new taxes. Bristol Hospital, as many of you know, is another major employer. Bristol Hospital takes a huge hit from these new taxes. Our goal as lawmakers should be to foster a high degree of certainty and trustworthiness in Connecticut's business climate. Businesses, small, medium, and large businesses, make long-term investments and hiring decisions based on the policies we create here at the state capitol. Pulling the rug from underneath them by changing these policies does not send the right message to the businesses that are here. Pulling the rug out from underneath them by changing those policies sends a terrible message to those who are considering on coming here. And I want I want to thank those businesses for speaking out against this legislation. We've heard them through our social media, through our emails, and as well through the newspapers. They're not afraid to speak out. And they were not intimidated. And I applaud them for doing so. Madam Speaker, this represents the second largest tax hike in Connecticut's history. The second largest. It is coming on the heels of the largest hike in the state history from 4 years ago. I heard loud and clear from the taxpayers in the greater Bristol area and throughout my district that they do not want new taxes. I've heard that message from people of all ages and backgrounds. I've heard it from the small business owners in our region. I've heard it from the seniors on fixed incomes. And I thank them for contacting me through their phone calls as well. I thank them for meeting with me in the coffee shop. They have told me enough is enough. They have told me no more new taxes. I know that I'm making the right decision with my no vote. I feel this Democratic budget, which unfortunately had zero input from the Republicans, would continue to take our state into the wrong direction. And that's why I'm voting no.